Welcome to everyone. And today I want to look with you at the question of balancing various life roles. In our everyday lives, we have to juggle different roles. And these roles are very important in our lives, and we need to understand how to balance these in our lives. The first thing that we will deal with today, I want to look at the definitions of roles and balance. Secondly, how do you balance these various roles in your lives? And lastly, look at some tips that will help you to balance roles. My name is Vusi Penyane. I'm a student counselor based in Rustenburg. Different life roles can be summed up as one, studying. Okay, now some people put more emphasis on their studies. Okay, secondly will be career or work. Some people see the work or career clearly as a center of their lives. Nothing else matters except their work. Thirdly, family or personal life. These are the people whose life's role priority focuses on family. Everything revolves around family. Fourth, self and society. These people's life roles priority is neither study, career, nor family, but themselves and society. Leisure, going out, going to clubs, clubbing, religious activities, dedicating yourselves to church, and working so much for the church play the dominant role in their lives. Study, career, and family. These are the people who place equal emphasis on these three domains as they juggle their study, work, and family commitment. Now, the problem we face every day is how do you strike a balance in all these four domains? We tend to put one emphasis on one or two domains and forget about the others. We have a very good reason why we cannot pay equal attention on the other domains. There is a conflict, and today we will want to talk about how best you can manage these different roles in your life. It is very important to manage these different roles. And in doing that, the first thing we need to do is look at the definition of roles and balance. Now, first we have to look at the definition of roles. In the dictionary, a role is defined as an actor's part in a play or film. Okay, actor or actress part in a role in a play or film. The second definition given by the dictionary is a person or thing's function in a particular situation. A person or thing function in a particular situation. And Dendrondorf in 1958 said, roles define the specific rights and obligations that are entailed in a social position. But the definition that I prefer or I like comes from Williams in 1916. And according to Williams, the social psychological conception of role is derived from the theater applied to everyday life. Individuals are conceived as playing roles in a society similar to an actor or an actress upon a stage. So you are looked as an actor or an actress playing a particular role. You are assigned a role that you have to play, but this role is applied in society. Therefore, you have these four roles, which will be your study, your work, your family, your social life. These are the roles you need to play. And how best do you play that? Because as an actor or an actress, you need to play these roles very well. Sometimes you look at some actor or actress, you see how badly they portray a particular role. Sometimes you look at some and you see like the best, the way they act is out of this world. And therefore, balance then can be seen as you playing a role in a society, similar to an actor or an actress playing a role in society. Therefore, for each role that individual will embrace, a specific behavior is required and expected from that particular role. Therefore, the roles provide us with a definition of the situation that sets the limits within which we may legitimately. Now, let's look at the definition of balance. Okay, the word balance is both a noun and a verb. Balance is defined as even distribution of weight, enabling someone or something to remain upright and steady. When we see balance as a noun, we believe it will bring stability to our lives. Balance is bringing things into harmony. It's not something that you can get, but something that you can continually do. Life is a game in which you are continually juggling many balls in the air. The paradox of balance is that the more we pursue it, the more things seem to fall apart. Our worries make us worry more. Therefore, that's why we look at balance in that way. But we can also look at balance, finding a balance as a transition. Finding balance is a life project. It is ongoing. It is not a final goal at the end of which you will have a peaceful, calm, and meaningful life. Balance is a way of living. It is a process. Balance is about navigating transition rather than trying to nail a spot gracefully hoping to stay in it. Balance is not a destination. It's not something that you have to achieve or get at the end, but it's a constant journey. You have to travel. You have to be in that situation that you need to practice and travel so that you will balance at the end. Okay, and balance can also be seen as a practice. Okay, I like to look at balance as the practice. Being balanced does not mean being calm, relaxed, and content at all times. Balance often occurs only for a fleeting moment, but it can reappear over and over again. Rather than trying to stay balanced, think of yourself as practicing balance over and over again. I love that many yoga teachers talk about yoga as a practice. The goal is not to become great at it, but to keep practicing it. You often hear the comments that it's good to fail. It means you were trying. The same is true in life. As long as we keep practicing finding balance, we will find one at some stage. Of course, we will lose it, but we will find it again. So it's important to understand balance as a practice, as we do in yoga. Every time you have to practice balance, is not something that at the end. And you also have to look at balance as integration, as integrating everything in your life. Indeed, the image of two skulls in a balance suggests that people need equal amounts of competing elements to create equilibrium. Moreover, it signifies trade-offs, gaining in one area at the expense of another. Thinking in terms of trade-off is counterproductive and confusing. The best reward comes from the integrating every area of your life rather than trading off between them. Take different roles in your life. For example, most people try to keep them separate. They build walls that make them feel worse. Instead, approach life as a whole. You cannot organize your activities into separate compartments. Integrate everything you do. Let each aspect of life feed off each other. Stop seeing your career, your study, your family, your social life as separate compartments. Rather than competing against each other, they should collaborate. Remove this imaginary wall you have created that separates your life. But removing the imaginary wall will release a lot of tension. Integrate all aspects by applying learning across all of them. Balancing different life roles requires you to let go of control. It is important to highlight the fact that too much involvement in family role can also create problems. Too much involvement in both family and work can also create conflicts. Non-balanced involvement might cause complete happiness in one area, but then it will cause failure or sadness in other roles that you are not paying much attention to. Now, let's go further then and look at, so what can you do to find some balance? Let's look at some tips of what you can do to find this balance, as I've already talked about balance as a process, as a transition, as a journey, as a practice that you need to do every time and every time. The first thing that you need to do in order for you to balance your life is to develop a balanced mindset. Balance is not something external. It lies within you. It is internal. Only you who have control of your internal self can actually control your mind to gain that balance. For example, if I say to you right now, raise your hand. So raise your hand. Now, I give control, I give command, but you still have to control, you still have to give the information to your hand. You still have to listen to my command and give yourself and communicate with yourself so that you can start raising your hand. Okay, so you have control of your life. So now it is important for you to train your mind so that it will actually train your mind or develop a balanced mindset. Balance is a state of mind, not a productivity at the end of a production chain. The poet and social activist Thomas Merton summed up the work-life balance perfectly when he said, "Happiness is not a matter of intensity, but of balance, order, rhythm, and harmony. It's all about finding out what matters most to you, setting boundaries, and opening up the lines of communications." 2. Okay? Be clear about your expectations. Be clear about your expectations. Maintaining an open line of communication is extremely important. In fact, conflicts, confusion, resentment, etc. are usually the result of ambiguity and miscommunication. State what you feel and what you want. Be specific. Remember, others are simply unaware of what you expect or what you need, and this can lead to resentment or disappointment. Be specific and not be general. Keep in mind that this should be a two-way process. Encourage those around you to be open about how they feel and their expectations so that there aren't any misunderstanding further down the line. 3. Life role priorities. A life role priorities is a measurement of the relative priority of focus attached to a career, study, personal, family, or social roles. Setting life roles priority allow you to make choices about your life, to understand and to assume why you are making those choices, and finally, to adopt a behavior in harmony with your choices. Life priority must make sense to you. It must not make sense to someone else, but it must make sense to you. It must have a meaning for you. That's why we talk about Viktor Franklin, who wrote a book, Man's Search for Meaning. And he said the most important thing is to understand the why we are doing something. And that will motivate you to continue doing certain things. Number 4, prioritizing. Okay. It's about setting your goals and deciding which are most important and then doing the most important things first. The problem is often figuring out what is most important. To figure out what is the most important thing, you have to ask yourself this question: what really matters most? The answer to this question will reveal a great deal about your priorities and personal values. For example, in some cases, you may realize that your personal life or family life has to temporarily take a backseat to your studies, while the exact opposite may be true in other situations. Knowing what matters is the first step in learning the art of balancing. Finding what matters and doing it requires you to be able to say no to something else so you can do what matters. E.g., when you say yes to your studies and work, you are simultaneously saying no to many things such as your family, social life, religious life, etc. And prioritizing you prioritize is about doing things at appropriate time. What matters is doing things at appropriate time. Therefore, you put these things, you prioritize them, and at appropriate time, you're going to do certain things. And we also talk about purposeful procrastinating. It means you consciously decide that a certain thing will be done at a certain time. So I consciously decide that right now I'll focus on my work and my studies. And during June holidays, I'll focus on my family. December, I'll focus on my family, and then work and studies take a back seat. So that's why we are saying you are purposefully procrastinating doing something right now, but you know where you want to do it. That's why I'm saying you do that certain thing at appropriate time. Remember that priorities are not concrete or constant, but they actually change based on the circumstances. We have to be flexible when setting your priorities and understanding that it is all about maintaining harmony among all of the roles you must. Number 5, know your limits. We all have our limits, and taking on too much can become stressful. When you set your priorities, you have to be aware of your limits. Some research suggests that the roles you play in our private life can greatly enhance both your personal well-being and your effectiveness in the workplace. Legal involvement in family roles does not seem to be the only solution to fulfill professional roles better. It's essential to know your limits and work within the confines of them. There are times when no is the only appropriate reply to someone else's request, and that's perfectly fine. If you feel that you may be pushing past your boundaries and going overboard, then step away from the situation to get a fresh perspective. Number 6, accomplishments and failure. Remember that both accomplishment and failures are part of balance. Most of us have plenty of both already in our lives, but we may not always pay equal attention to both. If you are someone who focuses on your failures, try to notice small moments of success. See what that feels like. See if you can figure out what you are afraid of, why you have to focus on the negative instead of the positive. But don't beat up yourself if you can't stay there. It's normal to fall out of that awareness back into more familiar thoughts. Just go back to the positive when you can. That's the balance. 7. Go easy on yourself. As much as we would like to be, nobody is perfect. We can all strive for perfection, but trying to reach your true potential is the ideal goal. Don't be too hard on yourself. If you take longer than expected to achieve your objectives, or if you simply don't have enough time to take on every task, you should also be willing to relinquish some control over certain to-do on your list and accept the fact that they may be done differently. For example, if you have worked overtime, let someone else prepare meals and take care of the household chores. The same applies to work tasks. If you cannot handle it all by yourself, then delegate it to someone else and let them take their own. 8. Don't be afraid to disconnect. Unplug can be difficult in today's world, especially if you are working remotely. However, there are times when you simply need to get away from it all and take a much needed break from technology. If you are feeling overwhelmed, try scheduling one day a week that is tech-free. Turn off your mobile device, step away from the computer, and enjoy time with your friends and family. You may even set aside some me-time where you can relax and unwind. It may feel like you are missing out on opportunities at first, but just remember that being well rested and refreshed will open up more doors than working at half capacity. If you are finding it challenging to unplug and take a break, ease yourself into it by starting off with an hour of downtime and work your way up to full day. Number 9, reach out to your support system. Reach out to loved ones and don't be afraid to accept offers of help. You may need assistance with various everyday responsibilities so that you can focus all your energy on work and school. Perhaps others can assist you with studying for exams or putting together projects. Keep your family and friends in the loop and set clear expectations by sharing your schedule with them so they know when your workload will become heavier. Support comes from different sources such as family, partner, employers, and can take different forms. It can take a form of mental, financial, material. Talk to your partner. Request him or her to assist with whatever you need. Talk to your employer. Support from the employer might also be very helpful. So these are the people you need to talk to at every time. The last one, practice journaling. Set some time to reflect. Check how you spend your time. Identify the tensions and make the necessary adjustment. Journaling is also a great way to capture everything good that happens in life. Acknowledging all the positive things that occur throughout your life will make you feel great rather than stressing you out. Finally, we talk about balance as a process, as a journey, as a destination. We talk about balance as a practice that you have to do every day over and over and over again. It is a transition. This is not a destination. This is not a journey that you have to take so that you arrive at a particular destination, but it's the practice. It's something you constantly do. And finally, stop putting your life into compartments. Look at your life as one, as a unity. Look at your life as made up of different roles, and these different roles must be integrated so that you'll have the peace of. Thank you to everyone else for taking time to listen to this recording. I thank you.